Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. I think we'll go ahead and get started. This is an introduction to NSF Online 2.0 specific for Cooper Standard. We will be muting all participants and we'll be unmuting at the end of the webinar for questions, but please feel free to enter any questions or comments in the chat box at any time and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. We'll be recording the webinar today to share it with additional Cooper Standard users who aren't able to make the webinar today or tomorrow so that they have this information, or so that you can retain that information for a later date. I know many of you, but for those I don't, my name is Christy Shields and I'm the manager of our corporate accounts team. We're really excited to bring you a clean, new look and feel to NSF Online. We've gotten a lot of great feedback on it, and we're really happy to share it with you. One of the benefits that we have right now is you are some of the first users to really see this new NSF Online, and we would love you to provide any feedback as you start trying to use this system. It's kind of a beta test period, so we're getting our users adjusted and ourselves adjusted, but we're really looking forward to this change. So you may have already noticed, if you've been trying to log in NSF Online lately, you've noticed a new landing page. So if we go to our client login, you'll see this new NSF Online login page. So we're able to set up user by user, client by client access to the new system. If you were to go in today, you would be routed to NSF Online Classic. But if you're set up for the new version, then you'll be routed to NSF Online 2.0. In January, we'll be routing all users from Cooper Standard to the new NSF Online 2.0 because we know how challenging the changes can be when you're dealing with a new system. There's gaps in knowledge and some other issues if someone was out on vacation, we have new people starting, that kind of a thing. We are giving users the ability to switch back and forth to the old platform for several months while everyone adjusts to the change. So you can see here I'm logged into a Cooper Standard user account. This is at the corporate level, so we can see all the information rather than just a facility level where you can see partial information. And here up in the upper right-hand corner you can see Classic View. And if I click on that link, that will take me back to the Classic View of NSF Online, so that if you can't find something and you're in a pinch, you can always hop back here and then direct you back to the new NSF Online, which we hope you'll learn to love and use and can't live without, hopefully. So we're really excited to show you some of what this has to offer today. One of the new reasons why we did this change was so that we could have a platform that is mobile and tablet device friendly. So we have apps in Google Play and the Apple Store that you can download onto your devices and access it that way, and they have a very mobile device tablet friendly look on them. So not just a web browser that you'd have to maximize or move around. So it's very nice in that sense. So this is the typical landing page that you would see, your basic alert page. Everything is very similar to what you would have in NSF Online Classic. We want to have all that same information and really just more. We want to give you better visibility, more options, more features. So this is our alerts page, things that are important to you. If we have any audit dates that are coming up, if we have any corrective actions that have been submitted or are waiting for NSF response, if we have any pending or overdue corrective actions, these would be the alerts to trigger us to do something. Next, we have our menu up here, and this takes us to all the different places that are available in NSF Online 2.0. The first tab, I'll just give you a glimpse of it, but this is kind of a new feature to be improved as we build that relationship with what Cooper Standard wants to see. It's called the snapshot page. And what we will be able to do, I'll just give you a little taste of it, is to create a new snapshot. Decide who it's going to be visible to. There's a lot of accessibility that we can grant maybe just to ourselves, to other users if we want plants to see information, or just corporate users. And we can create a snapshot. And this is really, so a snapshot means basically we're adding a chart. So we're adding some kind of a visual of what our views are. So basically, we could have a chart of our pending, submitted, complete corrective actions. Or we could have certain levels of how many audits are completed, scheduled, or unscheduled, that kind of thing. So this is just an introduction to kind of give you of what is good to come on these things as we continue with our design. Next we have our site menu. And this right now we have it defaulted for all facilities. You can see that it's defaulted because it has this yellow star here. If I were to go to a different kind of view, it would have the star, but it wouldn't be yellow. If we wanted to make that my default view, I will click on that yellow and make it the default. All of the screens are laid out very similarly. You can see this arrow is a back button that takes you to the last screen you were on. This green bar here that says all facilities, these are our views. So we can create very specific views for our users, and even users will be able to create views themselves. So this is what I was mentioning before. We really have a lot more flexibility here, which is really an awesome feature, and I'm hoping that you'll find very useful here. So just an example here, we have all facilities defaulted, but then we can have my facilities here. And I created a silly list here of just Cooper's awesome sites, and I put in a kind of a filter of just your active locations, so those that have certificates and are in progress with getting certificates. So that way it just kind of filters that list even further, removes any dropped facilities, cleans that up. So eventually I'm sure would be beneficial to split those for some users by quality and environmental. I know that's something where some people work in just quality and some people work in just environmental, and that's all they're interested in. So we'll be able to set up some of those views for these users. One of the other nice features here is our filtering capabilities for a list. So if you have a big search result here, we can easily filter through anywhere you see this magnifying glass lookup in a column. So if we just want to look at Michigan locations, we can filter that. The Rubik's Cube tells you it's thinking and working on it, and then it populates only the locations in Michigan from this list. And we can do that in any of these columns. If we specifically are looking for one, we can find that information quickly. Additionally, with these columns, we have the sorting, ascending, and descending. This lists all the columns that are in view, and additional filtering here if we really have a lot of data to pull from that we want to do some filtering here. But it's pretty user-friendly to just be able to kind of start typing in that field and have it limit to that information. Additionally, as a part of this, we've really tried to be conscious of how you will use this information. It's so common, people want to export, so we've given the PDF, Excel, and print features for that. Additionally, there is advanced search if you're not finding what you need with the filterings. We can click on advanced search here and filter what we're looking for here if you know the particular site code or name or country or state. Again, what I was talking about, making this kind of what you want it to be, that search I did before where I was looking for all Michigan locations, I would be able to search by city or state or country here. So let's say I want to do Michigan here, and then I could search. So it's my advanced search, get all the Michigan locations, and then you'll see here this option to save as view. So if you find yourself commonly using the same search criteria over and over and over, we build that into what we call the view, so that way instead of you having to enter all your search criteria in every single time you come into NSF Online, we can save it as a view and say yes, and then create that view and make it unique to you. So that we could call this Michigan Facilities. We can even make this an alert for some reason. In this case, we probably wouldn't need to make an alert here because it's just your sites, but if it was something that we didn't have, maybe you wanted to make an alert for unscheduled audits, we could do that, and we would just click on this Make an Alert and give it a fancy color of how you'd like it to appear on the alerts page. Then we can also even be more creative and say, well, what columns do I want to see in my search results? And we can be specific here. These would the columns that would default. If we decide we don't want one of those fields, one of those columns, we could kick it back over here. Or if we want to reorder any columns, we could do that by using the up-down arrows here. We also can choose how we want it to appear, how we want it to sort, ascending or descending, and who we want to make it visible to. So if you know someone who is has a specific product group or region that they are responsible for, they could make it visible to certain other users so that they could have these same views, so everyone would know what they're looking at. They could look at the same thing. And then we would create the view. So then this goes to create a view, and you can see here in My Views, we've added Michigan Facilities to here. And if we want to make that default, we select the star and mark, and it's been marked as default here. So at any time if we want to edit the views, that would be done here, or delete the views, that would be done here. We can also just start from scratch and create a new view here. Next up, we have our audits. And this we already have some default views built in, probably a little bit too many, so we're going to pare it down more. But here we start with completed audits as our default view, and we can see everything that's been completed for every different standard for every different facility. But as we go through this, we can again customize these views. If we want to make sure it's only TS or IATF audits in a particular user's view, we can do that, or 9 and 14 in someone else's view, or however we want it to appear. So we can work through some of those things. So we can, again, anytime there's these magnifying glass, that's the filtering, and we can sort them as well. Anytime we see this different color, that's a hyperlink to additional information. So we click on the audit number, and it gives us our audit information, gives us the auditor, the dates, the audit types, duration, who the contacts are at the facility. This link will direct you to the audit report, and this link will direct you to the corrective action report. It'll also go through any kind of other historical audits that we've had and what the results would be if there's any nonconformities, that kind of thing. This will be listed here. And then the corrective action tab here, you can see that information there. So again, just like the sites, the views are the same. So we have our shared views, which are default views for all users, and then My Views would be the customized views that we could build. We have the advanced search options to drill down differently if the filter options aren't what we're looking for. Anytime we see this arrow backwards, that's our back button. It takes us to the screen we were just at before. Up top, just to point out, you'll also see an announcements area. So that is a feature where if there's any kind of information that NSF is communicating to customers, we like to put it in NSF Online as well, so it just kind of is another, again, touch point where we don't want it to be caught in a spam filter or junk mail or something like that in email, so we also put it here. One of the new ones we added is there's a new IATF 16949 Upgrade Delta Planner and Checklist available. Drills into a little bit more information about the evidence that's required and remote support, location, audit dates, and things like that, just to provide a little bit more information. So if you haven't gone through your IATF upgrade, that's something that you'll want to take a look at there. Next up are our corrective actions. So this defaults to pending corrective actions, something we want to act on, but again, there's different views for submitted, rejected, overdue, all corrective actions, additional information requested corrective actions, so that you can manage those corrective actions. We can download the corrective action report here and also select the individual corrective action to find that information. So you can see this is very similar to how we've had it in the old NSF Online, where we enter root cause, corrective action plan. This preventive action plan actually will be hidden. IT is working on that piece now. Enter responsible person and completion date, and choose your files for uploading, provide a description, and then save and submit. And it's really as easy as that. So very similar to how you're used to it in the current NSF Online. We didn't try to do anything too crazy with that, as this is really one of the main features of why people are in NSF Online. But we will continue to kind of look at this and see how we can tailor it to a specific standard or specific industry based on that. As I mentioned, anytime there is a blue text, the link here, so we can look at our facilities and see there, I'm sorry, I clicked on an audit. Let's go to our sites, and I'll select the location. So we can see our facility information, their recent audits they've had, their location, their audit results, corrective actions, reports, drill into their audits, and certificates as well. So it's just kind of another way to find the information. So it all kind of links back to each other. Wherever you kind of see the blue text will be a link back to somewhere else, whether it be the audit or a certificate or a facility. We also do have an individual certificate tab. If you know exactly what you want, rather than having to drill into things, we can specifically look for a facilities certificate. Reports, data analytics. This will be a feature that we're actually building for Cooper Standard right now. It's where we'll be able to use it as a tool to help you see across your facilities things like the top 10 nonconformances or audit activity by month, that kind of a thing. So it's often nice to see at a corporate level or even at a facility level, just to see what other facilities corrective actions are, so you can kind of gauge based on those your level of preparedness. Additionally, there's the invoice and payment history under finances and administration to manage users. So if we have corporate users typically who are administrative users, they have the access to set up new users and grant them access this way. And again, we can make it a little bit more customized of what they can see and what they cannot see. So there's quite a bit more flexibility there. So that really covers the main overview without going into too many details of the creating views and things like that. But I'm sure you all have some questions or maybe some feedback about what you've seen so far. So now I'll give you the opportunity. We'll take everyone off mute, and we'll give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you have. So just a reminder on this, we are giving you this kind of sneak preview. You have a new landing page right now, but this will go live in January. We kind of wanted to give you that advance notice so everyone could view this webinar, get comfortable with what they're seeing before, and really prepared for it before we make the change. Again, at any time, if we're having any difficulties or we can't find information, we can click back to the classic view and take care of what we need to, and then click back to the 2.0 view and really try and get used to it that way. So if there are any questions after this webinar, then I'd be happy to answer them. Again, my name is Christy Shields, and or additionally, your account manager, Nicole Perez, she'd be happy to answer them as well. Her contact information is on the screen right now. But we really look forward to your feedback, again, because you're some of the first users. We're able to kind of tailor some things to what you would want to see or what you would want to use. And we really appreciate your patience as we kind of roll this out as a new system. We'd like to think that we're Microsoft, and we try to be that gold standard. But we are realistic too, and do understand that people are using it in all different types of browsers. And there may be some things that we need to take a look at, but our IT team is great, and they're happy to look at everything instantly. These are, they should be working on any platform, so if we're using Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, all those different web browsers, it should be functional on those. Let's see, I'm going to check the chat box to see if anything came up. So is the alerts page customizable? Yes, it is. So right now we do have the default alerts set for Cooper Standard, but we can customize this. So as we saw with the, let's see, some of the audits we said, kind of go through and show you what this would look like. So when we are creating a view, I'll just do an example one here of particular standard and search. So these are all my audits for IATF 16949. I'd save as view, say yes. Say IATF 16949 audits, and we could say make that alert. So this is where you're really customizing your alerts of what you want to see here. And we could define specifically, what kind of criteria you're looking for. So maybe you're looking for audits that are created. That means that they're not yet done. So they haven't been submitted by the auditor, or maybe haven't even been performed by the auditor. And again, we can customize that. So once we create that view and have an alert for it, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't choose an alert color, it yelled at me. And it says a new view has been added to my list, and it will also create this alert here for it. You can see how it's now the IATF 16949 audits, and I can just click on my alert and go right to it. So it really cuts down on your having to search for the same thing over and over again, which makes it, I think, really, really flexible for us. Another question on the snapshots page. Could you create one for nonconformances by clause number? That's a very good question. At this point, we don't have that built in, but I can certainly speak with IT to see how we can create a specific one. I know that was more of the intent in our dashboards creation. So that might make more sense in the dashboards because it could be the top 10 nonconformances by clause number. That's typically what we see there. But we can certainly play around with it to see what would be most beneficial to the users across the board. I know not everyone at Cooper has had access to the dashboards that we have in NSF Online currently, but we can use that as kind of a guide and template and say, well, this is what we have now, how do we want to tweak and make it better? Okay, what other questions do you have? Great questions, everybody. Thank you. Everyone's unmuted, so if you have anything, let us know. No more questions, it sounds like. So I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Quick meeting, but once we go live, I'm sure there will be more questions. I know when you look at a new system, everything looks great, and then when you start using it, you kind of think of some more things that would be beneficial to you that you'd like to see. So please, once we go live in January, feel free to contact myself, Christy Shields, or your account manager, Nicole Perez, with requests, enhancements, questions, whatever you need. We also do have a user guide that we'll be able to share, and we'll be providing this webinar as well as a refresher. I really appreciate your time, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.